The sparrow's song outside my window usually promises a quiet morning. But today, at 7:45 a.m. on a crisp September 10th, 2025, that chirp was a warning siren. Parked beneath that sparrow, with the audacity of a VIP claiming a handicapped spot, was Gloria hulking silver SUV owned by Marjorie Hensley. That gleaming beast sat smack in the middle of Cedar Path, our neighborhood's only emergency access route in Willow Grove. My coffee, normally a warm hug, turned bitter in my mouth. I muttered curses, spilling some on my faded, world's messed carpenter tea. It was bad enough Marjorie had left a passive-aggressive note last week about my garden elf, Percival, being 2 inches too whimsical for the Homeowners Association, HOA, rules. Now this. Her SUV was a chrome-plated middle finger to common sense. Cedar Path isn't just some scenic trail. It's a narrow, paved lifeline for ambulances and fire trucks to reach the back half of our cul-de-sacs, including my place and old Mrs. Larson's, who's got a pacemaker and a flair for fainting spells whenever Marjorie's name comes up. Last summer, a wildfire crept close enough to singe our fences, and the fire crews barreled down that very path. Marjorie, conveniently, was off perfecting her yoga poses in Bali, so Gloria wasn't in the way then. Today, though, she was a barricade, and I wasn't Hawaii-ing it. Peering out my window, I saw Marjorie herself, strutting from her front door in a neon green athleisure outfit that screamed, "I've got too much time and zero chill." She clutched a tiny watering can, tending to her HOA-sanctioned azaleas blooming next to her illegally parked SUV. She gave Gloria's hood a fond pat, like it was a loyal pet. My blood boiled. I flung open the window, leaning into the dewy morning air. "Marjorie, morning," I called, barely keeping my voice from cracking, still treating Cedar Path like Gloria's private yoga retreat. Marjorie didn't blink. She turned with the grace of a duchess disturbed mid-tea, her voice sharp enough to slice bread. "Good morning, Nathan. It's public property, as you're aware. Gloria's just soaking up the sunrise. Who's it hurting for a few minutes?" "A few minutes?" I shot back, gripping the windowsill until my knuckles whitened. "Yesterday, your few minutes was a 3-hour coffee clatch with your dashboard bobbleheads. What if Mrs. Larson needs an ambulance? What if my garage catches fire because your silver tank's playing gatekeeper?" Marjorie's lips curled into a smirk, the kind a snake gives before it strikes. "Oh, Nathan, always so dramatic. If there's an emergency, I'd hear sirens. I'd move. Eventually." That word, eventually, lit a fuse in me. My VY shone blurred red. The sparrow above Gloria flapped away, sensing the storm brewing. "Eventually won't cut it, Marjorie," I growled, slamming the window shut. I stormed into the kitchen, nearly knocking over Percival, who I'd brought inside after Marjorie's last elf-related tirade. My wife, Lila, sat at the table, scrolling her phone with a calm that only comes from years of weathering my rants. She glanced up, her serene smile fading. "Let me guess," she said, voice dripping with the exhaustion of a woman who'd seen this MOVYE before. "Gloria's hogging Cedar Path again. Did Marjorie try to find a squirrel for loitering this time?" She said eventually, "Lila." I exploded, pacing our cramped kitchen. The nerve of that woman. Lila sighed, sipping her coffee. "Okay, Nate. Breathe. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Remember Dr. Patel's advice about picturing a tranquil forest? My tranquil forest just got a silver SUV parked in it, declaring itself emperor." I snapped. "I'm done, Lila. Done." Her eyes narrowed. "Done how, Nate? You're not planning to stuff Gloria's exhaust with spray foam, are you?" We agreed that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. "Spray foam's for rookies," I said, a reckless grin spreading. "I'm thinking bigger. Way bigger. Something with tracks and a blade." Lila's mug froze mid-sip. "Nathan, don't you dare touch that SUV with our old tractor. You already flattened Mr. Dempsey's mailbox with that thing." "Tractor's in the scrap heap," I said, already Googling bulldozer rental near me. A gem popped up, Rusty's Rigs Wreckers. Their tagline, "If it's stuck, we'll make it unstuck," was poetry. I dialed. A voice like sandpaper answered. "Rusty's. You dent it, you rent it. What you need?" "Rusty, it's Nathan Walsh from Birch Circle. Got a landscaping emergency. Need something with muscle, pronto." Rusty chuckled. "Walsh, thought you'd call after that oak fell on your shed." Got the Black Hornet ready to roll. She's a small dozer, but she's feisty. Perfect for tough weeds or whatever you're wrestling with. Tough's the word, I said, grinning. Very tough, very silver weeds. How soon can she get here? Cash up front, Rusty said. My guy Pete can drop her off in 45 minutes. Point him at the problem. He's not chatty, but he's a pro. The next half hour was a blur of adrenaline. I paced like a caged wolf, peeking through the blinds. Lila ditched her phone to flip through a pamphlet on mindful neighbor disputes, muttering about legal defenses for temporary HOA-induced insanity. Marjorie, meanwhile, had set up a folding chair beside Gloria, sipping kombucha and reading Saw Conquer Your Cul-de-sac quarterly Saw. The gall was Oscar-worthy. At 8:30 a.m., a battered flatbed rumbled up. Pete, a wiry guy with a sleeve, unloaded the Black Hornet. She was compact but fierce, her steel blade glinting like a guillotine. Pete ambled over, wiping greasy hands. Mr. Walsh, Rusty said you got some gnarly roots to rip out. Hornet's fueled. Keys are in. Simple. Forward, back, blade up, down. Don't crash her into anything pricey. Just some stubborn overgrowth, I said, aiming for casual. Pete grinned, flashing a silver tooth. Hornet'll chew through anything. Have fun. Rusty says first hour's free if she comes back spotless. He saluted and drove off, Leah VYing me with my weapon of justice. I climbed into the Black Hornet's cab. It smelled of diesel and bad choices. The controls were a puzzle, but I figured the big lever meant go. I named her properly. All right, Hornet, let's tango with Gloria. The engine roared to life, shaking my bones. Marjorie jolted, her magazine flying like a startled pigeon. Nathan Walsh, she shrieked, sunglasses askew. What is that monstrosity? Turn it off. I'm trying to enjoy my morning. I gave a mock salute, cowboy style, and pushed the lever. The Hornet lurched forward, tracks chewing pavement. Marjorie's eyes widened, irritation morphing to panic. Nathan, stop. That's my Gloria, my baby. Don't you dare. She scrambled from her chair, which collapsed like a drunk flamingo, while VYing her arms like a neon windmill. The Hornet's blade kissed Gloria's bumper with a soft saw-thunk saw, followed by a scream of tortured metal. I nudged the lever. Gloria groaned, tires scraping as I angled her off Cedar Path and onto Marjorie's pristine lawn, grazing her award-winning hydrangeas. Marjorie was a blur of fury, shrieking, "You beast! You'll pay for this. I'll sue you into oblivion. My hydrangeas." I halted the Hornet. Gloria was a crumpled heap, half buried in foliage, the path gloriously clear. "Cedar Path's open, Marjorie," I shouted. "Public safety first." "You're welcome." Silence fell, heavy and surreal, broken only by Marjorie's gasps and a distant crow. Then, like curious deer, neighbors emerged. Curtains twitched. Mr. Callahan, who'd battled Marjorie over his birdbath's excessive sparkle, sipped tea on his porch, GIVYing me a solemn thumbs up. Mrs. Larson peeked out, blowing a shaky kiss. My phone buzzed. Lila. Her voice was ice. "Nathan James Walsh, Mrs. Dempsey just texted. She says you've lost it. There's a bulldozer, a wrecked SUV, and hydrangea carnage on Marjorie's lawn." "Explain." "Now." "Path's clear, hon." I tried, breezy. "You could land a helicopter on it." "Marjorie's face is plum-colored," Lila hissed. "I'm calling Leonard, our lawyer, not your darts buddy who thinks law is a bar tab." She hung up. Marjorie, now on her phone, wailed, "Police. He's a terrorist. A bulldozer lunatic. Send the FBI. Gloria's got scratches." Sirens wailed, closing fast. 2 cop cars screeched up, lights festive. Officer Tate, fresh-faced and idealistic, stepped out. Sergeant Hayes, grizzled and done with life, followed, eyeing the scene like a bad art exhibit. Hayes approached, thumbs in belt. "Well, damn, Walsh. Haven't seen a mess like this since Joey tried joyriding his dad's tractor through the farmer's market. You the guy who turned that SUV into modern art." "Just proactive path clearing, Sarge," I said. "Public safety." Tate, notepad out, was all business. "Sir, define proactive." "Involves a bulldozer, yes?" "Black Hornet," I corrected. "Nimble. Persuasive. That SUV's been blocking Cedar Path for months. Fire hazard. Ask Mrs. Larson." Marjorie charged, only to be blocked by Tate's arm. "He's a liar. A vandal. Gloria was a 2020, low miles, leather seats ruined. Hayes raised an eyebrow. Warnings issued, Walsh. Or did you just wake up and think, bulldozer day? Warnings aplenty, I said. Emails, HOA complaints all ignored. Marjorie runs the committee. She buries dissent like nuclear waste. Neighbors chimed in. Mr. Callahan yelled. She blocks my VYEW daily. Ms. Evelyn gasped. Such violence. Tate scribbled furiously as Marjorie listed Gloria's features, down to the cup holders. Hayes pulled me aside. Look, Walsh, I get it. My neighbor's got a yappy mutt that howls at dawn. But bulldozers ain't in the handbook. There's process. I tried process, I said. Marjorie laughs at process. Tate returned, reading Marjorie's charges. Assault with a bulldozer, felony destruction, emotional distress to a vehicle. Assault. I scoffed. I aim for the SUV, not her. Hornet's enthusiastic, not lethal. Lila arrived, looking like she'd aged a decade. She thrust a business card at me. Leonard T. Grayson, ESQ. Specialist in chaos and regret. Leonard's coming, she said. He asked what monument you demolished this time. I glanced at the card. A reputation for action, I mumbled. Lila's glare could have melted steel. A reputation for bankrupting us, you mean? Hayes smirked. Ma'am, it's always the quiet ones, carpenters, birdwatcher Swo snap. The Hornet was deemed EVY Denke, towed under escort. I called Rusty. Nate here. Hornet's headed to impound. Might need a scrub. She's been near a Karen too long. Rusty laughed. Heard you flattened a tank. Hornet's a champ. I'll fetch her, but it'll cost ya. Sal Russo, of Russo's Wreck Rescue, arrived next, his tow truck gleaming. He clapped at Gloria's ruin. That's a beaut. A silver pancake. What did you use, a Comet? Black Hornet, I said. She's got heart. Sal snapped pics, muttering hashtags. The SUV smashed the path rage. Hours later, I slumped in our kitchen. Lila poured tar-black coffee. Bulldozer Nate? What's next, a tank for Mr. Callahan's loud parrot? It felt right, I said. Her smugness begged for it. My phone erupted voicemails, texts, forum posts. The HOA prez, stammering about alarming photos. A neighbor offering beers. A thread titled Walsh vs. Gloria, Epic Showdown. Lila peeked, stifling a laugh. Congrats, hero. You're VY Ral. At Leonard's office, plush and smelling of leather, he greeted me with a weary grin. Nathan, last time it was your flamingo fence feud. This, a new peak. Marjorie's a hazard, I pleaded. Photos prove it. Leonard nodded. Provocation's a theory. But the DA's eyeing felony charges property destruction, reckless bulldozing. Lila, clutching the HOA bylaws, gasped. Article 8, Section D. Persistent emergency path obstructions allow removal by any means after 2 warnings. Nate's emails count. Leonard grinned. Nathan, you're a fool, but Lila's a genius. This cracks their case. Fire Chief Malone called, unofficial but gold. Marjorie's been warned for years. Warnings lost by her committee. Word spread. I became Bulldozer Nate, a folk hero. Gifts piled UPA toy Dozer, craft ale, a sketch of Hornet triumphant. Mrs. Larson sent a pie with a pastry B for Bulldozer. Marjorie, shunned. Her new compact car hid in her garage. Cedar Path stayed, Clerno one dared park there. At the hardware store, a clerk, Tim, cornered me. You're Bulldozer Nate. My band's got a song Silver Crush. Got tips for my sister's bad parking. Try Arial black font, Tim, I said. Bull. The DA offered a plea. Guilty to reckless SUV endangerment. Fine. Our vacation fund. SARE VYC, 200 hours clearing park trails. Plus, a macrame anger workshop. Lila saw me off, smirking. No leaf blowers without my okay, champ. At the park, my super VY sore, Joe grinned. Heard you moved a car with style. Hornet good for stumps. Purely botanical, Joe, I winked. Sweating through brambles, I wondered. Maybe this was my path cutting through red tape, knotting rogue cars to poles. Progress, not perfection, as Lila'd say. So what do you think? Was Nate a hero for clearing the path, or a hothead who went too far? Should HOAs have less power, or are they VY Tal for order? Could Marjorie have been stopped without a bulldozer, or was chaos the only way? Drop your take below, hit like, and subscribe for more wild tales.